Hello there, and welcome. Look, we all know that dealing with HMRC can be pretty nerve-wracking, especially if you have that nagging feeling that something's not quite right with your taxes. But don't worry, you've come to the right place. Today, with this guide from the experts at ProTax Accountant, we're going to break down HMRC's Digital Disclosure Service, step by step. So let's get you on the path to sorting things out. Okay, let's just cut to the chase with the big question. Have you earned some income that you haven't declared? Maybe it's from that side hustle that suddenly took off, or some freelance work you did, or even rental income you just weren't sure what to do with. It's a question that can keep you up at night, for sure, but facing it is absolutely the first step to getting your peace of mind back. And here is exactly why this is so important. In just 1 year, HMRC pulled in a massive £320 million from unpaid taxes, all through about 140,000 voluntary disclosures. That number is just staggering, right? It shows how seriously they're taking this, but it also shows that you are definitely not the only person who needs to get things straight. So, this really gets to the heart of the matter. Undeclared tax is a huge focus for HMRC right now. They are actively hunting for it, and believe me, their tools and methods are getting smarter and more powerful every single year. Let's dig into what that actually looks like. Let's paint a picture. Meet Alex. He's a freelancer based in London, and his side hustle has been doing pretty well, but he hasn't declared the income. Then, one day, a very official-looking envelope drops through his letterbox. It's an HMRC nudge letter. It's polite, yeah, but it's also a very clear signal that HMRC is already aware of that extra income. So, you might be wondering, how on earth do they know? Well, their technology is incredible. They have a supercomputer system called Connect, which is like a giant digital spiderweb pulling in data from 28 different places. We're talking banks, letting agents, online platforms, even crypto exchanges. They blasted out 200,000 of those nudge letters in 1 year alone, often with campaigns aimed directly at landlords or people with crypto. The bottom line here is simple. It's really not a matter of if they'll find out anymore, it's just a matter of when. Okay, that's the scary part out of the way. I know it sounds intense, but the good news is there is a clear, official path forward. And that brings us to the solution, HMRC's very own Digital Disclosure Service. Think of it as your lifeline. So what is this thing exactly? Well, the DDS is an official online platform set up by HMRC. It's not some kind of trap. It's a formal way for you to voluntarily fix your tax record for any income you might have missed in the past. Honestly, it's your best opportunity to just come clean, wipe the slate clean, and get everything right, on your terms. And this service is for a whole range of people. It's for individuals with that side hustle, landlords with rental income, who are a big focus of HMRC's Let Property campaign, by the way, and small businesses who might have just made a simple mistake. Basically, if you've made any kind of error on your taxes or received one of those nudge letters, this is the official way to sort it out. And here's a little did you know for you, and this one's a biggie. If you make a disclosure before HMRC starts a formal investigation, that's what's called an unprompted disclosure, you can slash your potential penalties by up to 35%. That is a massive financial incentive to act now instead of waiting. All right, so it all sounds good in theory, but what about in practice? How does this actually work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to map out your 90-day disclosure plan, step by step, so you know exactly what to expect. The whole thing really boils down to 4 main steps. First, you notify HMRC online. This tells them you plan to make a disclosure and, crucially, it starts a 90-day clock. They'll give you a unique reference number. Second, it's time to gather your records, bank statements, invoices, all that stuff. Third, you do the calculations for the tax, interest, and penalties, and then you submit the full disclosure. And finally, step 4, you pay what you owe. All of this has to be done within that 90-day window. Now, one of the biggest questions people have is, how far back do I need to go? Well, HMRC bases this on your behavior. If you really tried to get it right but still made a mistake, that's reasonable care, and you only need to go back up to 4 years. If you were just careless, it goes up to 6 years. But, and this is the important one, if the error was deliberate, meaning you knew you should have paid tax but chose not to, HMRC can go back as far as 20 years. Being honest about which category you fall into is absolutely key. And here's a quick pro tip for you. What happens if you're missing some paperwork? Don't panic and don't let it stop you. HMRC actually allows you to use your best estimates. The only catch is you have to be ready to explain exactly how you came up with those numbers if they ask. So just make sure your reasoning is solid. So maybe you're thinking, why the rush? Why don't I just wait and see if they ever actually contact me? Well, I'm here to tell you that can be a very, very expensive gamble. Let's look at the huge difference between coming forward now versus waiting for HMRC to knock on your door. This is the real cost of waiting. This table just lays it all out perfectly. There are two paths. With a voluntary, unprompted disclosure, you are in the driver's seat. You control the pace, you get way lower penalties, and you show HMRC that you're willing to cooperate. The other path, a prompted investigation, means HMRC is in control. The penalties are much higher, the investigation can get a lot wider, and frankly, the stress is just through the roof. The choice couldn't be clearer. And let's put some real numbers to that. Just look at this chart. For a simple careless error, if you come forward, the penalty is capped at 20%. But if you wait for them to find you, that penalty can shoot up to 35%. That is a massive difference, and it's a direct financial cost for procrastinating. Let's walk through a quick real-life example to see how it all comes together. This is Priya. She earned an extra £15,000 from freelance work in the 2022-23 tax year that she forgot to declare. The basic tax she owed on that was £3,000. Then HMRC adds interest for the time it's been overdue. But because she came forward voluntarily, her penalty for being careless was only 20%, which is £600. So her total bill came to just under £4,000. By acting fast, she saved herself a ton of money in higher penalties. Now, even though the process is laid out in steps, it can still feel really complicated and a bit overwhelming, especially if your situation is more complex than Priya's. But the best news is, you absolutely do not have to figure all this out by yourself. Take a more complicated case, like Imran. He owns a cafe and had about £80,000 in cash sales over a few years that went unreported. For him, the numbers are way bigger, the stakes are so much higher, and there's a real risk HMRC could see his actions as deliberate. He was totally lost and, honestly, terrified about what might happen. This is where getting a professional involved can be a total game changer. Imran went to ProTax accountants. Their team jumped right in. First, they went through his books and found £15,000 in business expenses he'd totally missed, which immediately lowered his tax bill. They worked out the exact figures for everything, they handled all the stressful phone calls and letters with HMRC, and they even negotiated a payment plan so he could pay it off over 12 months. And the final result? They saved Imran over £5,200 in penalties alone. So here's the bottom line. You can technically do this yourself, but the DDS process has hidden traps. If you calculate the tax wrong, use the wrong penalty rates, or send in a disclosure that's incomplete, HMRC can just reject it. And that puts you right back at square one, except now you're definitely on their radar. Getting it wrong can literally cost you more money and stress in the long run. And that's exactly why getting expert help from a firm like ProTax Accountant is so valuable. It's not just about crunching the numbers. It's about knowing how to navigate the system properly, making sure everything is 100% accurate, and getting that incredible peace of mind that comes from knowing it's been handled right. Listen, if any of this has struck a chord with you today, the most important thing you can do is take that first step. You can take back control of your tax situation, starting right now. Reach out to the team at ProTax Accountant for a completely confidential chat. You can call or WhatsApp them on 07985 68912, or just drop them an email at info@protaxaccountant.co.uk. And for more clear, simple tax guides just like this one, make sure you hit subscribe on their YouTube channel. At the end of the day, dealing with undeclared tax is all about moving from stress and uncertainty to clarity and control. That feeling of relief, that peace of mind, it's really just one phone call away. So the only question left is, are you ready to take that first step?